Benson Henderson, Matt Mitrione, Josh Thompson, Tito Ortiz, Stephen Bonner, and Rampage Jackson not included. Well, Rory McDonald, who has hinted at exploring free agency when his contract is up after his fight with Stephen Thompson coming up in June in Ottawa. Well, we welcome former UFC and current Bellator heavyweight Matt Mitrione. Matt, first of all, how's the eye?
It's doing well. It's getting better every day. I have a little bit of double vision at some points, like on top of my gaze. But for the most part, it's all right. Just a little bit ugly staining. Other than that, cream cheese, buddy.
Well, the picture, of course, went viral of you with that hematoma on your right eye after being poked a couple of times by Travis Brown in what was your last appearance in the UFC. Where does it stand now? I know that you want to have that decision somehow overturned, right? Are you exploring those legal channels?
I do, and I am. Appealing. I filed a grievance with the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission. Actually, I was supposed to have my final hearing to have a decision on whether it's going to get overturned or not yesterday, but I had a little too much going on in my life. I was trying to get ready for a fight coming up. The dates weren't necessarily solid yet, so I was trying to get in shape, and plus I have to go to Italy for my Bellator kickboxing color commentary debut. So I had a couple of things kicking around, and so I decided, you know what, push it back, wait until, let me focus on the things that make me money first, and the things that are simply pride or changing the sport, let me do that martyr bit afterwards.
The best thing to happen in professional wrestling / sports entertainment was the Monday Night War, WWE versus WCW competition, bringing out the best in everyone, and in fact, it led to guaranteed contracts for all of the performers. We are starting to see a trend now where there finally seems to be legitimate free agency with UFC fighters maybe trying to see if the grass is greener on the other side, and the other side in this case being Bellator. Why did you leave the UFC? And do you think you and the rest of the field, like the Phil Davises and Benson Henderson, is this the start of a big wave or a small trickle?
I feel that if you're a fighter right now and you are coming up at the end of your contract, you have 2 fights, 3 fights left, I don't understand why you would not test the market. Now, you may not have the name value that you feel like you need, but you may be in a position that another organization needs to have you. So you don't know your value unless you test the waters out. And if you go there, the organizations you fight for are going to play hardball unless they have another option where they have to play more generous. Or they have to be more generous. And I feel that this is a situation now, especially with Scott Coker, especially with Bellator, especially with Viacom giving the money that, hey, look, go get it, give us some credibility, let's get this thing. We started the grassroots, and this is what we've done. Now let's start to cherry pick the best that are coming out, and let's really give ourselves a push. And I feel like this is a time, and if you don't take advantage of it, I feel that's your fault.
So was it purely fiscal then? Did you jump ship just for money or what? I mean,
No.
We're hearing from Benson Henderson he's allowed to do kickboxing and jiu-jitsu as part of his decision to sign with Viacom. The sponsorship.
I think all that plays into part of it, right? But I think the biggest part of all that isn't the money part. It's the freedom to go get your own money. It's the freedom to have your own. Like you can now express the fact that the emperor's not wearing any clothes. Yep. You can't do that before. So now it's the freedom, it's the potential, it's whatever. It's sponsorships. It's being able to voice an opinion without fear of not getting your back end bonus that may or may not come anyways. It's just in general. It's like, who the hell are you to take away my money, like my sponsorship money, to take that away from me without even a conversation about it? Like knowing that we don't fight hard for our contract money because the contract money was far outweighed by the sponsor money, right? So like if my contract money is 8 and 8, but I'm getting $40, $50, $60,000 in sponsors, why the hell am I gonna worry about the 8 and 8? Cool, let it happen. I'm gonna get more money because my name value, I can monetize that. But then all of a sudden you take that away from me, and now I'm dependent upon the 8 and 8 that I never fought on. And now it's gonna be tooth and nail to get it bumped up to 12 and 12 or 10 and 10. You know, like it makes no sense. And we had no say in that. And that's what hurt. And so it's not necessarily the sponsor money or the money that Bellator might pay. It's the fact that we can cause a change. And like I understand that's dangerous talk, but it's relevant. And then right now it seems like it's the time that it comes up.
Okay, so that was the bad thing. And what would be the good thing? What did a good thing that you picked up from fighting for the UFC?
Well, it gave you your professional debut, right? You fought your entire career.
I don't mean to make this like I'm anti-UFC because I'm not at all. The UFC gave me an opportunity. I was a nobody. I was a creep on the show, and they gave me an opportunity, and I capitalized it, right? And I'm thankful for the opportunity. I even told Dana when I was like, as it looks like, I texted him, said, hey, it looks like I'm going to Bellator. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate the opportunity for this, to start this crazy ride. You know, and I'm not unappreciative. I'm just outspoken about stuff that I feel like we as fighters need to be vocal about.
What would have allowed you to stay with the UFC under the current circumstances, or is
honestly,
that why you left?
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I left. Like, there's a lot of things going on. Ace, like, I don't like the fact that things get taken away from us without any conversation whatsoever. You know, like sponsors. Like, for example, like, and I have solutions. Now, I'm not just finding problem. I have a solution, right? So I told other people this before. Instead of remember when they first hit us over the head with the sponsorship tax, right? The 50 Gs.
Sure.
Okay, so, and they said that was to prevent other organizations from coming in and not paying out their bills, right? Like Fear the Fighter, right? Like they come out, they promise all this money to all these people, and they don't pay, but they got 7 or 8 shows worth of exposure, and all of a sudden they don't pay out, right? But they got the exposure they needed, whatever else. All right, well, so it originally started out with Affliction, and Affliction said, okay, they started the organization that they built their name off of the UFC's back. Well, that could have easily been handled by just saying we have a non-compete. If you're going to put your name in anything on either athletes or our organization, non-compete for 7 years, can't create a competing promotion, whatever else. That could have been easily handled that way. But then they did a $50,000 tax on top of that. Well, why didn't they take that tax and put it into an account and let interest accrue on it, right, from all these organizations or companies that want to pay in and advertise? Why don't they take that money, put it into an account, let it gain interest, and then anytime a company like Fear the Fighter or whoever else bails out or flops and doesn't pay their bills, well, then that fighter can get X amount of money back out of the interest account. All right, so at least you're not getting hosed, but you're not getting all you're supposed to get, but you might get 10, maybe 20%, depending on what's in the account, right? But that way we're still getting something and we're not getting hosed for it. The UFC is not capitalizing on that. We as fighters are. We're getting money back that we were promised that we got hosed out of now, right? So that makes more sense. Instead of padding their pockets, why not give it to us? Because we're the ones that are blood, sweat, and tears. We're your product.
Something tells me he's put a lot of thought into this. And you know what? Judged by this answer, he's going to do very well as a color commentator for Bellator Kickboxing.
I appreciate that.
Got the gift of the gab.